Hey guys, all right, it's Orion from Flight School here. We're going to talk about IDXG today. It was one of the trades that we were watching in the small caps room, and this is something that I missed entry on actually, but Jordan, my partner here, he actually snagged a nice little trade out of this. So I'm just going to talk about his trade because we were kind of watching it side by side and fill you in on what he did and tell you about his gains. So he made a trade on IDXG. He got in at 371 and he got out at 405, 406. He got filled at for $101 gain, which was awesome. It was a really nice trade. This was the move, and I'll go into my charts here and I'll talk about it a little bit and kind of what his thought pattern is, because his thought pattern is similar to mine, and we both look at the same thing. So IDXG was moving up pre-market on some news, came in here and put in a top at kind of 329, poked over it, and then again here touched at 329. So I had driven a line across this and was looking for a 329 breakout. On the open, it actually, oh sorry, this is the wrong, there we go. On the open, it actually kind of sold off here down to 294, and then came up, popped up here, kind of moseyed around, bounced off of 343, which is actually a prior resistance level on the daily chart. Came down here, put a bottom in around 320, bounced around. So you can see it kind of came up, put in a top, came down, put in a couple higher lows, bounced up, kind of tested it again, 340, higher low, light test again, higher low, and then it came right down here and tested 320. This is where I was actually looking for entry, was at 320. I thought, you know what, we put in a couple of bottoms here. We've got a nice base, and if it breaks down under 320, I would just bail out on a 10-cent stop loss, 10-cent stop loss. I don't even care that this was 294. I would have just gotten out. You know, that's just how I am. I'm a 10-cent stop loss guy. I don't like to extend it further than needed, so my entry would have been 320, and I would have bailed out. I didn't fill. It's not that I didn't fill. I didn't get my order in time. And right away on the next candle, and then we popped up. So Jordan got long here at 371. We said over 365 would have been the start of a last little bit of gap fill between 365 and 422 right here. It did a bit of gap filling here with these two. You can see there's that 343 resistance that it tapped out before when it came out of the gate today, and then 365 was another sort of resistance as well. So we were eyeing those levels, and Jordan, I believe, slipped up and got a little bit of slippage, but he got long at 371 with 300 shares. You know, and this thing moved great. It popped up right away to 378 with minimal pullback. There was actually none, and then on the next candle was a beautiful one. Came right over the whole dollar. A little bit of a pullback on both ends of the candle. Closed a little lower than the high, and then this candle had a little bit of a deeper pullback down to 391, but he was great. He said he was moving up his stops kind of along the way, 5-10 cents. He was running, I believe he was running a mental stop. He could have been running a bracket order, but I know that we'd learned some stuff from Chartman Dan recently about moving your stops up as you get a chance to. As soon as you see the nice big break, start to move your stops up at least to break even, and then you can start to move them up even higher into the profit zone. So at least if the stock is going to pull back and test the support and you know, go deeper, you can get stopped out and lock into some profits and come out of the trade green. You know, there's nothing wrong with breaking even. There's also nothing wrong with a small loss, but at the end of the day, we're all here to take in some profits, and that's exactly what Jordan did. So it came up here, put in a top at 417, did a little bit of a pullback, and then on this next candle, it opened and it actually couldn't come back up and put this top in again, and that's when he jumped out. He hit the bid and he jumped out at 405 on the way down, and it came down and it put in a low of 396. It did continue to keep going, but this was kind of a indicator and signal of a possible reversal. Also, we can see here we're getting very overextended off of the 9 EMA on the 1 minute. And if you flip over to the 5 minute, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious what was going on here. Big high extension off of the 9 EMA. These usually, you know, just imagine this kind of full of hot air. It's puffing up the price, the share price of the stock. You know, eventually, not all the time, it is going to pull back, but I would say 9 times out of 10, when you see this type of gap happening off of your last EMA or moving average or Bollinger Band or any sort of kind of support indicator, support stroke resistance indicator, we will see some sort of pullback and consolidation, and that's exactly what it did. It did continue to go higher and put in a high of 445, I believe, on the day before we had this massive sell-off, almost a gap fill right back to where it was. Look at that, kind of around 343, came up here, tested that 340 level again, and then it sold off for the rest of the day, 268, and really did nothing, and closed at 271. So almost came full circle, but provided a nice trade. And I love seeing my members and teammates and partners and trading buddies and everyone taking profit off of moves like this. So that was his trade, $101, 300 shares to lock in some nice profits and put a smile on his face and mine and everybody else in the chat room. So that's all I got for that, and I'm going to cover EMH, which I traded today in another video, so look out for that one. Again, like and subscribe to the channel, comment, feel free to ask questions at any time, tweet me, yeah, and that's all I got. All right, guys.